So tell me your name.
My name is Eric Fagan. I'm running for sheriff of Fort Bend County in 2020.
Why are you a good candidate to replace Sheriff Troy Nels?
Well, if I think I'll be a better candidate if you look at each of our records. I have 34 years of law enforcement experience. My bachelor's degree is in criminal justice. My master's is in forensic psychology, juvenile forensic psychology. I won the Officer of the Year award on 3 consecutive times. That's the highest award an officer can receive in law enforcement.
And that's with what department?
Houston Police Department.
Okay, so you're currently in the process of retiring from the Houston Police Department.
I'm on phase down. So I already signed my papers to retire. I've worked for 31 years. I say 34 because when my phase down complete, they'll give me 34 years. So a lot of people don't understand that. I'm technically on the books, but I don't have to go to work because I'm on phase down.
And I have actually looked at that program, and I don't understand it, so we'll just leave that one alone.
Okay.
So I heard you talking earlier about community policing.
Yes.
So, but you've been in law enforcement, and specifically, you've always been with HPD. Am I right?
HPD, the Houston City Marshals, then with HPD.
Okay, but you were around when we kind of got away from community policing and went to the broken windows policing, and,
yes.
and so you've seen the failure there.
Yes.
And so you're adamant about community policing is the
Yes.
direction to go.
It's the 21st century of policing. Right now, what we have in places like, and I hate to say it for it being now, police officers who stay in their cars. You have to be able to work with the community. Who better knows what's going on in the community than people that actually live there? If you just drive through it, you will never know. If you get out and speak with the individuals, they can tell you who's causing trouble or who's doing what in that community. It's not all the time about being looking for crime. It's about stopping it before it even starts. That's what oriented policing, community-oriented policing, that's what it's really about. That's the heart of it.
I think community-oriented policing is a good thing. I think that getting away from it has been part of the divide that has
Yes.
been created between the communities and citizens and law enforcement. And I think that's unfortunate. So I'm glad to see that you're doing that. Now, we have a big hoo-ha going on in the city of Houston right now because of the no-knock warrants and the shooting that occurred. How do you feel about the no-knock warrants as the impression is, and what I'm seeing with HPD narcotics, is that they overuse that they use it almost every time. And how do you feel about that?
There's pros and cons. You have to have no-knock warrants sometimes for the safety of the officers and also for the safeties of the suspect. My problem with it, what I like to see it used more better is, we can't just go on the word of one suspect or one informant. If when I'm in the sheriff's department, when I win, Lord willing, when I win, I will be using no-knock warrants. But how I would do it is this: I will have an informant, then I'll have an undercover officer also make that buy. We can't just take the word of a criminal. You can't do that. We have to get verification, more than just one time. And is the no-knock warrant really justified? I'm not saying this one wasn't.
Yeah.
Because I didn't work on that scene, and I don't want to second guess.
And I'm not asking you to pass judgment on
Yes.
that. We're just talking in general.
Yes.
Yes. Okay, so how do you feel about gun control?
Gun control. I'm an opponent for the Second Amendment. I believe anybody who's legally able to have a gun should have a gun. We need that. I am a Democrat, but for some reason they take that, people take it the wrong way, that Democrats want to take everybody's guns away. I don't. I own guns, but I want to see people who are properly trained with the gun. One I don't understand is this: we make a kid to get a driver's license in a vehicle, take a driving test. You have to drive. We make them have to be 21 to drink alcohol. All these two different things, it's important because they can kill someone in the car. They can kill someone by drinking alcohol or driving. Well, you giving a kid under the age of 21 a gun, no training, there's no state required training for them to have. And when I was a child, I went hunting. I was under 21, but I was with an adult. That's all I'm asking for, is that, and you don't want mentally ill people to have guns. What's wrong with doing a basic check on someone? I'm not telling you not to have a gun, but just like I had to be checked in law enforcement to carry a gun or to qualify, if the citizens won't, why not? What is it to fear? I don't understand.
Okay, and then we come back to this is a pet peeve of mine,
Okay.
is that there's a lack of A, transparency in law enforcement, and B, accountability for officers when they do wrong. So if we're elected sheriff, what would you do to ensure that there's transparency in the community, and accountability for the officers when they do wrong?
I have a 7-point plan for the sheriff department. One of my plans is mediation. And what that is this. In the Houston Police Department, we had a mediation team. It's called Alternative Dispute Resolution. What that is this. When a citizen has a complaint, and you've been in law enforcement at one time, when a citizen files a complaint and the police department do the investigation, by state law, we can't tell that complainant what discipline we gave that officer. Well, that leaves the complainant feeling like nothing's ever happened. And you can't blame the citizens for feeling that way because we're closing the door on them. What I want to do with the alternative dispute resolution mediation is open the doors. And by that, I mean doing this. If you have a complaint on an officer because he was rude to you, or he gave you a ticket and you don't think you deserve it, well, you can file the complaint. That complaint will first go to IAD. If it seems appropriate, it'll be sent to alternative dispute resolution. That's mediation. The officer and the complainant will come together to the office, and you will have a mediator, a neutral person. No rank or no title is in that office. At that time, the citizen can ask the officer why he or she did what they did. A lot of people don't realize sometimes it's because of time restraints. When you go out to a scene and the officer say, well, he was rude, he didn't answer my question. Well, we have radios and we can hear things that you can hear. And we might have to look, I gotta cut you and just leave. Or you arrest someone and you gotta go back on the scene. Well, in mediation, you have the opportunity to sit down across from that officer and to ask any question you want. By policy, that's if I'm the sheriff, like at the Houston Police Department, that's the order. The officer has to come to that room and to speak to the officer. And then during the mediation, these two make the agreement. So you will see what happens. The citizens will see what happens. That's one way we can open the door. Another thing is I want to have a review panel, a citizens review panel to go over questionable or news media worthy incidents that happen with the department. Yes, by law, we have to investigate it first, but I can have the panel sit down, go over, give them all the information. I have no problem with that. Give them all the information, and then they can recommend what can be done for the officer. But I have to be truthful. That panel, they'll give their findings back to the sheriff's department, and I would have final disposition on it. But I don't see a problem with having a citizens review panel. Police departments, or sheriff's departments rather, been speaking about it. Law enforcement in general been speaking about this over and over again all the time during election cycles. We're gonna have a citizens review board. I've yet to see it happen. I promise that's going to be one of my first things I'm going to do. I will have a citizen review board at Fort Bend Sheriff's Department.
Okay. Going back to the gun control issue, I understand what you were saying about the background checks and stuff, but how do you feel about constitutional carry?
I have no problem with constitutional carry. It's part of the Constitution. I have no problem with it. All I'm saying is, if a person, we have to do something like the the HIPAA law, what your medical things is confidential. But when it comes to mental health, my daughter is a doctor. She's a psychiatrist. Well, I want it to be whereas if you know, and by law, if a doctor knows a person's going to physically hurt themselves or harm them, they have to notify law enforcement. What I want to add to that is, if you know someone is mentally unstable, we should have the right to check to see if that person, is there a gun in that house. That's all I'm asking, is to do that. Yes, I want to take the gun from that person at that time. But mental illness is just like any other illness. If they have the right medication, just like anything else, it's a stigma on mental illness for some reason. We need to change that. If they get the right help and everything, give them back their weapon. It belongs to them. If they don't, we should be able to confiscate that weapon.
Well, I think that maybe some people would have an issue with you going into somebody's house, to seize property. I mean, what if you find drugs while you're in there? Well, now we've got a criminal charge,
Well, hopefully.
So, I mean, would you agree there needs to be some balance there?
It has to be balanced. When I say going to the house, I mean working with the families. I said that it's not rushing in, breaking. I wouldn't have the right to do that.
Yeah.
I should have said it more clearly. It's with the family, working with the family, the mother, the father, the husband, the wife. Now, if it's a single person, it's ways to do things. We can call the person in and just sit down and talk to them and ask permission.
So you're a proponent of de-escalation first.
Yes, de-escalation first before anything else.
That's good. That's good.
Anything else. It's a lot of people, and I do believe shootings that occurred that could have been stopped if we just took the proactive approach on the police side and as well as the citizen side.
Well, I think as citizens, and this is the one of the good things about community policing is having the citizens involved with you. They are a great force multiplier.
Yes.
That's some of the best assets you can have.
They have more eyes than what we have. They're in the community. That's the thing. We have to stop us and them, the mentality. You've been in law enforcement once before. We're like a family to ourselves. We have to break that up. We are servants to the public. We answer to you do pay our salaries, the taxes you pay. So we should treat you that way. Yes, you give officers respect, but the officers should give the citizens the respect as well. I don't see that now in Fort Bend.
I find that
it's not going both ways.
I find that respect is earned.
Yes.
When people demand respect, you make everybody else feel like they're subservient to you. And that is a lot of the issues that I see in law enforcement. I mean, I'm known as a police antagonist, okay? And that's not true. But I'm totally against bad policing and bad police officers.
And the majority of officers will agree with you. We don't want bad officers. But I will say, I honestly do believe 95%, if not more, are good officers. It's that 5 or less percent that we have to weed out. And the only way we can weed that out is that citizens have to file complaints. Don't let someone do something to you that you know is wrong and then just complain about it to the other citizens. If you don't bring it to us, there's nothing we can do about it. And I have to say this, citizens don't feel comfortable now doing that. That's something I want to change. Make them feel, and that's what community-oriented policing can do.
And you make a good point. You would be amazed at how many people contact me, and I end up taking and going with them to make complaints at police departments because they're afraid, they're intimidated, or they feel like nothing will come of it. And I just encourage them. So, if you want to get bad officers out, you've got to document their misbehavior. Maybe they just get a slap on the wrist this time. You may be right. But
it's documentation.
Documented. So it over and over.
Did the same thing again, then did the same thing again. Well, it's a pattern.
Exactly.
And that's something we can work with.
Exactly. Well, what is your website so that people here in the area can go to it?
FaganForSheriff2020.com. I really hope everyone comes out and vote. Also, come to my website. You can donate at my website as well. But I appreciate it. It's like this, speaking with you, it was a pleasure. And to be truthful, you approached me first. I can't take credit for it, but I appreciate that. And I'll speak to anyone at any time. So please feel free to reach out to me.
One last quick question while I'm thinking about it.
Yes.
So you don't see the current sheriff out in the field very much. One of the things that I've found in talking to HPD officers, I actually talked to a lot of HPD officers out in the field, and one of the things that they really like is that Art Acevedo, the current chief of police,
Yes.
will check out a patrol car
Yes.
and turn up on calls.
Yes.
They really like that. The morale of the department is up. I actually like Art Acevedo. I think he's doing a wonderful job for the city of Houston. Would you be doing something like that? Would you be out answering calls and turning up?
Like I said, I was on the mayor's protection detail before I left. Art Acevedo and Mayor Sylvester Turner, they're very people persons. Get out there in the community. Well, I learned that from them. Not only them, I was there when Lee P. Brown was there, who actually brought community-oriented policing to the city of Houston. I've seen it. I know it works. I have no problem in putting on my uniform, going out and making calls, and I plan to do that. One thing I do plan to do at my sheriff's department to keep everybody on their toe, I'm gonna work every shift of my department. They won't know when I'm coming out, but I will be out there. I'll be monitoring our dispatch system, and I'll be showing up at calls. I work for you, so why shouldn't I be out there? Only boss the sheriff has is the community. But if you don't say anything, then that whoever the sheriff is, I'm not talking about the one that's here now, but I could be. They feel autonomous, like they can do anything. It belongs to them, and it doesn't. It belongs to the public.
Well, should you win, and I actually hope that you do,
Thank you.
I'm going to be out there on Williams Way in that school zone running radar, and I hope that when I catch your deputies doing wrong and speeding through there, that when I come up and knock on your door, because I've done it with Troy Nels, and he won't see me, he won't talk to me, he doesn't want to hear it. And his chief deputy doesn't want to hear it anymore. They're tired of hearing the complaints. Problem is easy to solve. Don't have your deputy speed. So I hope that when I come knocking on your door that you'll take the time to.
This is on tape, right?
It's on video. Yes.
Video.
Yes.
Okay, I'll make this promise to you.
Okay.
If you bring me a film, if you're out there with radar and you bring me a film of an officer speeding through a school, that really bothers me. You telling me the school zone, speeding through a school zone. I promise you, I want you to film it the same day. I'm gonna call that officer in. We're gonna show him that tape, and then we're gonna write him that ticket. You're not gonna write him.
Yeah.
I will write him that ticket on that day. In a school zone, the safety of our kids. Come on, and then you're gonna write tickets to other people. That's hypocritical. That's hypocritical.
Does that go for the judges too?
Well, I'm not gonna lie. I run the sheriff's department. All right, the judges. Let's go vote.
Fair enough. I appreciate you taking time to talk to me.
Thank you. Thank you so much for having me.
And I hope you win. I hope you win.
Thank you.